In 1997, in Hawaii, a 50-year-old man was leaving his house full of cardboard boxes, and no one could have known that man would become the author of the world's most widely read finance book. Just 3 years later, Robert Kiyosaki was making the biggest bet of his life that day. Born in Hawaii in the 1950s, Robert Kiyosaki's story is actually the story of two different fathers. One was his real father, a PhD holder, a government employee rising through the education system. The other was his friend's father, Mike, who had dropped out of school but became a millionaire. When Robert was just 9 years old, he began to realize how different these two men's financial philosophies were. His real father constantly said, "Money is the root of all evil. Get a good education, find a secure job." But the rich dad spoke completely different. Right at that moment, 9-year-old Robert started questioning everything. When Mike gave Robert and his son their first money lesson, he said, "The poor and middle class work for money. The rich make money work for them." This sentence would change the course of Robert's life, because at that moment he realized that nothing taught in schools was about the real money games of life. Every weekend, Robert and Mike's son worked under the rich dad, learning the realities of the business. But Robert didn't know yet that this experience would lay the foundation for his future billion-dollar empire. In 1969, Robert graduated from the Merchant Marine Academy in New York and served as a pilot in the Vietnam War. When he returned from the war, he didn't choose the safe job path his father wanted. Instead, he started working as a sales representative at Xerox. But Robert's real goal was different. He would put the rich dad's teachings into practice. In 1977, at age 30, he founded his first company, a company producing nylon and Velcro wallets. This product was revolutionary for surfers. The company grew rapidly, and Robert became a millionaire. But the truly shocking thing was what Robert experienced after this success. In 1980, the company collapsed due to disputes over patent rights. Robert lost everything overnight: his house, his car, even his dreams. At that time, his father said again, "I told you so, find a secure job." But Robert also heard the rich dad's voice in his mind: failure is part of learning. Robert started working at McDonald's. His old friends were shocked when they saw him, but Robert had a plan. During his days at McDonald's, Robert was learning how the franchise system worked, grasping the intricacies of developing business systems. As the rich dad said, to be in the B&I quadrant, you must learn to build systems. In the mid-1980s, Robert focused on real estate investments, but his strategy was different. Unlike traditional investors, he didn't just wait for value appreciation. Using rental income and tax advantages, he implemented the negative gearing system. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. The system Robert developed wouldn't just make him rich. Between 1985 to 1994, Robert built a large real estate portfolio, starting with small apartments in Hawaii. Each rental property provided him with monthly passive income. But more importantly, each investment earned him money to make new investments. During this period, Robert also entered the education sector. He began giving seminars on financial literacy. People came to hear his story because he had proven success in practice, not in theory. In 1994, Robert had become financially free. He no longer had to work, but his real big plan had not yet begun. In 1994, Robert found himself in a strange situation. He had achieved financial freedom, but people around him were still struggling with the same financial problems. His friends were constantly having money problems despite earning good salaries. That's when he realized that the problem wasn't just making money, but how you managed money. Wait a minute, don't miss this detail. The decision Robert made that night would change millions of lives. In 1997, 50-year-old Robert risked his entire fortune again. This time, his purpose was to teach people financial literacy. He developed a board game called Cash. This game was a gamified version of what the rich dad had taught. He organized seminars across America to promote the game, but people constantly asked the same thing: where did you learn this information? Robert told the story of the rich dad and poor dad. Each time, listeners were mesmerized. One day, his wife Kim told him, "You should turn this story into a book." At the end of 1997, Robert took the biggest risk of his life. He spent all his savings to self-publish the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert's book was first rejected by major publishers. Editors said this book goes against traditional financial rules. It could mislead people, but Robert didn't give up. As the rich dad taught, he turned rejection into motivation. What you've seen so far is nothing. The move Robert made during that period would turn him into a legend. Robert decided to use guerrilla marketing techniques. He appeared on on radio programs, promoted his book at small seminars. In every speech, he gave the same message. Schools are teaching you lies about money. The first 1,000 books were sold in local bookstores in Hawaii. Then, the miracle happened. People who read the book started recommending it to their friends. A word-of-mouth movement had begun. In 1999, he appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. That program completely changed Robert's life. Millions of people heard the Rich Dad and Poor Dad story for the first time. After the program aired, the book entered the New York Times bestseller list, and it never left. In the early 2000s, Rich Dad, Poor Dad had become a worldwide phenomenon. The book was translated into 51 languages and sold more than 40 million copies. But Robert was no longer just an author. He had become the leader of a movement. You won't believe it, but Robert's real goal was just beginning. Robert transformed the Rich Dad brand into a global education empire. Cash flow games, seminars, coaching programs. Each one taught people financial literacy. In 2002, a Rich Dad, Poor Dad television documentary was made. Robert was now known not only in America, but worldwide. From Singapore to Brazil, from Germany to Japan, people everywhere began applying his teachings. During the 2008 financial crisis, Robert's teachings became even more meaningful. People realized that the traditional, secure job, was actually not secure at all. Robert's wealth exceeded $80 million during this period, but he no longer cared about money. He cared about the message. Today, 74-year-old Robert Kiyosaki is not just a rich man. He is the name of a revolutionary who changed the way millions of people think about money. Everyone had learned the truth, but the real shock was this: that 9-year-old child didn't just use the lessons he learned from his rich dad for himself. He shared it with the entire world. Robert Kiyosaki's story of going from zero to the top is actually all of our story, because he showed us that even if only our perspective changes, our entire lives can change. And perhaps most importantly, Robert Kiyosaki taught us that real wealth is not just making money, it's adding value to people, transforming their lives. Because in the end, real wealth is this: having the power to change other people's lives.